All right, this is the entity that's concerned and harassing and threatening. That's Avanath Communities group stalking and the vendors group stalking. I will be. Is there everything okay?
No, it's not.
What's wrong?
What you mean?
How am I doing that?
Because you're outside.
And what does that mean?
You're not
So
even
is he.
supposed to be here.
So is he with the communication
Don't worry about
device.
him.
He's doing the same thing.
Don't
What's the
worry about
problem?
him.
Shouldn't you be going to the doctor, you said? You said you're going to the doctor? Did I say something to someone? What's bothering you? What's so urgent? What's wrong? Go in the house for what? I'm going.
Yes, you're not even supposed to be here.
But everyone knows that I'm here though, right? Is that why the helicopter's flying circles over me? They didn't know before, right?
I don't know.
They did not know before. No, they didn't know before. I'm going. The question is, why are you so alerted? What's wrong? Is everything okay? What is so wrong? What's so serious? How am I bringing trouble? Are you not bringing trouble to yourself? Are you not bringing trouble to yourself? You're the one creating an issue. You're the one standing in relevant position, creating audible activity and light activity and making a situation out of a non-situation. Me walking to the dumpster and back should not be a serious event. Okay? You're being very dramatic, and why is that? Why is that? Why is that? You just created a situation in front of Avanath Community. He works here, right? So you're bringing attention. You're creating attention. I will be. I will be.
I don't want to get a letter on my door. Go in the house.
Oh, from Avanath Communities, who doesn't know that I'm here, right? Okay. These are elements of monitoring and pacing. I will. I was going to. You got out of your car to come and tell me I'm a full-grown adult. No, you don't. No, you don't. I'm an adult. This is P.O.C. I will be.
Hi, how are you?
This is P.O.C. Yeah, I will be.
Don't be difficult.
I'm not. You're being dramatic. Is there anything else? Yeah, I will. I'm going to go in the house as soon as you're done. And I know you're not done because I'm capturing an environment here. So anything else you want to say? I will. Not 11. Don't need you to walk me in the house. You got out of your car. You were supposed to go into the doctor. It was so important, but now not, because I go to the dumpster in the parking lot and it is a serious situation. So anything else that's light activity, relevant positioning under the fake sun, that's here at 7:40 in the morning. Yeah, I will. You're creating an event, a situation, a circumstance. You're being very dramatic, and it's unnecessary. I go everywhere in my life without you physically present. That's train activity. That's amplified audible activity, relevant position, and the fake sun monitoring. Anything else? Because I'm going to go in the house. This is one obsessive group stalking. Okay? And manning the path because the demon is here and all the rest of them are being documented. That's what this is. But they're all worthy of federal prison as well. Understand that. All of them. But this is, again, you're obsessively consumed with me walking into the house feet away. And I'm how old and I can walk in? And am I raising my voice? Did I say anything to anyone? Did I? No, didn't say anything to anyone. Everybody else walking around the parking lot is not an alarm, but when I do, everything has to stop. You can't drive anywhere. You have to reverse in the parking lot and make sure that I walk back in the house, right? Why is that? No, I'm leaving, so you don't have to worry about it. So what else are you concerned about?
Well, then if you're leaving, are you going to lock my door?
Sure.
Please don't leave it open.
Sure. Anything else?
No.
Because every other moment when you're not here, it's not a big deal whether I'm standing in front of the front door or standing outside. But right now it is, because elements of monitoring are underway, including amplification of the Ontario train that's impossible to hear under a sun that would not be at the same property 8 hours later from 7:40. Oh, sorry, 6 hours later. It's 2:32 p.m. Anything else? Because I'm going to leave if that's such a big deal. Like, I am free always. I'm always free to come and go. Ontario train, amplification. Yeah, is there anything else? No problem. Anything else? So my telling you that I'm going to go is what, okay. So what I'm saying, I just want to be clear, this is light activity positioning. And 6X9 948, the Yellow Frontier, bathroom monitoring. The entire population is group stalking while my genitalia is exposed, including Tracy Banks. This is a demon that's maliciously monitoring with the people, including Avanath, who you saw crossing path, license 9ACS305. Sex offenders that live at the property and are profiting while the company is making money off of their group stalking demon-possessed demons who are employees here. Group stalking with the ones who you see crossing path under a fake sun over the same strip. 7:40 in the morning. The fake sun is here at 9:20 while Ontario PD are flying over my head in a helicopter. after, the fake sun is still here. 10:30 in the morning, the fake sun is still here. 11:04 in the morning, the fake sun is still here. 12 p.m. in the afternoon, the fake sun is still here. 12:46 in the afternoon, the fake sun is still here. Matter of fact, at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, where I walk where the yellow truck is, which is what I did right now, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the fake sun moves to be directly over me as I walk in that parking lot, and the fake sun is still here. And as I did the same thing at 2 in the afternoon, the fake sun is still here, and it also moves over me as I move on the property, while the entity is amplifying that which is impossible to hear, as impossible as the sun being over one strip of land at one property for the duration of the day. This is not your experience in Miami, Florida, okay? The entity is maintaining a light source over me at this property where the people of the state are communicating a threat. That's what Tracy Banks represents, while Avanath community is crossing path, group stalking in a specific environment, and I want you to see impunity. They don't want to stay in this country. If they're not natural born citizens, they will be deported. They're losing their children. They're already documented group stalking with those minor children, and they're sex offenders and terrorists group stalking with the Ontario PD, who's engaged in ongoing amplification, terrorism, sensational activity creation, and this is the same entity that is Tracy Banks, okay? You're going to drain the pockets of Avanath, because that's what that represents, under a fake sun that's over Avanath communities, okay? Avanath Capital Management LLC, specifically, whose headquarters is in Irvine, California. I'm going to drain their pockets, and I'm going to civilly and criminally prosecute them. The vendors that are are engaged in the pattern of conduct with Avanath, the people of the state that live group stalking with the on behalf of Avanath, who is profiting while state surveillance is underway here. Tracy Banks is engaging in what is maintaining presence in the path, asking an adult person who is not creating any sort of attention. She is bringing attention to demons who are hostile to being documented. Okay, this is a psychopath who has impossible light activity inside of her apartment, who is always present in right in front of me while I am subject to terrorism by helicopters by the state. That's group stalking me with her, and the entity is maintaining the elements of monitoring while these demons in the parking lot and in their apartments are engaged in demonic pacing, and these are corporate sex offenses underway because they're monitoring while my panties are down in the bathroom, capturing the specific environment while I walk out to capture that perpetual sex offense. The yellow frontier, that's a vendor. Apartment 41, that's an employee. Apartment 51, apartment number 56, those are the people of the state engaged in surveillance living at a facilitating venue, and they will all be prosecuted. The ongoing acts of terrorism, the Ontario International Airport, I'm documenting minute by minute, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, ongoing amplification while they're all engaged in federal stalking as well. The same with the demon in 55, engaging in surveillance, living at a crime scene, no privacy, no constitutionally protected presence whatsoever. This is the prosecution of the state of California, and you looked at what is a highly malicious psychopath who is engaging in what is trying to man the path while she's telling me to go inside of the apartment, which I can do at any moment. This is demonic pacing under a fake sun. Understand the intent to engage in the elements of monitoring in that specific environment. And this is one, again, not a natural born citizen. They will be deported. P.O.C. It is currently 2:36 p.m. There's no sun that's going to be over the Fairfield by Marriott, as I captured on video. This is Avanath Communities Crossing Path in San Diego, California, where the entity, oh, and let me point this out. You saw him doing the same thing at 5 o'clock where the fake sun is still here. He's crossing path. And the entity is doing so where the entity is maintaining a light source over San Diego. Hi, how's it going? How are you? I'm great. Audible activity, light activity, relevant positioning, and that's Avanath group stalking. The entity is keeping a light source over Fairfield by Marriott, that's Marriott Bonvoy, and the fake sun is over the Fairfield by Marriott in San Diego, California, and I'm capturing a plethora of images and a video, particularly over the top of my head at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, directly over my head while I'm at the parking garage, and the same entity, the demons who are the people of the state, are group stalking inside of a parking garage, where at 2:49, it's not going to be no sun in San Diego. It never left Woodside Senior Apartments in Ontario. Nonetheless, what's already documented showing the pattern of conduct, not only is this not seen through the window of the Hesperia Holiday Inn facing the 7-Eleven, this is nowhere near Hesperia. It never was there, while its documentation presence is 7:38 to 6 o'clock in the evening. The entities, there's no sun neither in San Diego, where the people of the state are begging me to go inside of my apartment because they're hostile demons who are engaged in federal stalking under a light source that's not possibly anywhere, nor will it at any time of day be in San Diego, California, over Fairfield by Marriott. Where San Diego County were stalking in helicopters, where the airports were engaged in surveillance using commercial airline planes in relevant position, just like the Ontario International Airport, over a senior citizen complex where sun is remaining for the duration of the day, and the demon possessed are openly engaged in criminal conduct that's stalking in the path with light activity. And while I was walking in the parking lot, the Ontario train was a method of amplification. An Avanath community showing the fact that they want their pockets to be drained, because that's what's going to happen while an Avanath community's employee crosses path right in front of you. Understand that that's deliberate and malicious, and it's also the demonstration of impunity. Impunity is relevant to the damages, it's relevant to sentencing and charges. And Avanath just represents the people, just like Tracy Banks, standing in my face, speaking to the P.O.C. while in the shade, you have impossible light activity occurring on the door. Concentrate. All right, this is and it has nothing to do with the fake sun. These are distinct methods of recognizing the P.O.C. While, again, the target individual is subject to the pattern of conduct by the demon possessed, who you may be blood related to. You know their name. They are fully engaged in state surveillance. This is shade, okay? And there is no vantage point where sunlight is coming underneath the structure, by the way, bouncing over the top of the door to remain on the wall. While, again, you're looking at audible activity of a malicious demon, including Abenath communities who's group stalking. Okay, so the light source it's right here. You can see through the windshield of the vehicle at this property where Ontario, the city of Ontario's group stalking using dumpster trucks. Okay, the Ontario International Airport is group stalking using commercial airline planes. The Ontario Police Department is group stalking using helicopters. The people of the state are group stalking crossing path and traffic using the sounds of their vehicles as amplified audible activity inside of this apartment where you're looking at ongoing methods of impossible light activity under a fake sun. This is P.O.C. That's the documentation also of a sex offense committed by the municipality, committed by the state, committed by the state directly, meaning, for example, the Ontario PD, as distinct from the state. That is the people of the state vicariously engaging in that. Commercial actors who will be prosecuted civilly and criminally for a sex offense. That's the city of Ontario. That's the Ontario International Airport, which is a state facilitating venue nonetheless. But you have the operations of an airport centered on what I do as I do it in a readily identifiable environment. I want you to see the pattern of the screen door in that light. This is engineered light, and you can see concentration levels differ, and the size of the same strip of impossible light appearing above the top of the door is occurring here. This is what I've already trained you to recognize: the impossible light activity. Any and everything that is stated and is occurring is relevant to elements of monitoring. That's a prosecution of the people of the state. This is P.O.C. giving a lesson on how to deal with malice. Okay, you've got shade, you have the maintenance of a light source, but you also have shade and the impossible placement of light activity as you analyze the environment inside. This is a crime scene where state surveillance is underway and a whole population engaged in an unfathomable sex offense. Any and everything that's occurring in a private space, a restroom where you're nude, your genitalia is exposed, you have to wash your body, you have to relieve yourself, you're walking around your apartment. The demon possessed are not only engaged in corporate invasion of privacy, aware of that, they're monitoring you. They're a bunch of zombies pacing all around, as opposed to painting, as opposed to maintenance on the property, Abenath Communities, as opposed to taking out the trash like Abenath Communities family living at the crime scene, which will be prosecuted as Abenath Communities. He's got his demon possessed family there and grandchildren, and they're all group stalking together. That's Abenath Community inside of apartment 51. In that context, the absence of any free, constitutionally protected conduct is the maintenance of that light source in the presence of impossible light activity and the state's documented stalking and terrorism and psychological torture. That whole entity is going to be prosecuted for the perpetual sex offense. All right, the unfathomable violation, which shall be recognized under federal law of an American citizen who has a right to not be subject to surveillance of a criminal nature, of a demonic nature by the government, which is what every single actor I just documented represents. This is vicarious conduct on behalf of the state that is practicing federal group stalking and monitoring, which is demonic, including the audible activity of Tracy Banks, one who sought to sacrifice me while she is outwardly conducting herself as though I'm speaking out of volume that I wasn't. Outside, I'm very calm. All I'm doing is walking around in the parking lot, but oh my goodness, it is quite a situation that I am outside. Let me make sure you understand what that was. She's manning the path, making sure somebody is staying in the path. And so what's supposed to be the most appropriate appearance? Oh, the fact that she, a mother over a grown woman who is not saying anything to anyone, not doing anything causing any sort of attention to myself, but you don't have to because they're targeting me, okay? But I want you to understand the malice behind what was the obsessive maintenance of elements of monitoring with these demons who are group stalking with her. That's it. Using the vehicle, the United States Postal Service, delivering the mail on the fake sun. That's what USPS is doing in LA over Alvarado Gardens, delivering the mail, which is elements of monitoring under the fake sun, including with LAPD, who was stalking in helicopter. All right, and they will be going to federal prison. There's no uniform. There's no activity that you're engaging in that is any exception to what is criminal surveillance. That's the acting in furtherance of the conspiracy by the state to kidnap and murder you. It will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, and that's what I'm capturing as you're looking at and listening to elements of monitoring. It is currently 2:42 p.m. There is no iteration of the natural environment that consists of any sun being over in Los Angeles anywhere, let alone where I captured it over my head, where I lived and worked at Alvarado Gardens. Anywhere in Hesperia, anywhere in any other place at all. It's exclusive. There's only one sun, not 14. And its documented presence remains here at what is Woodside Senior Apartments, while engineer light is crossing path inside and a demon is crossing path outside. He's monitoring. Impossible light activity moves on the inside of the apartment building. And how did I know that? Because there's no sound of him. I'm letting you know about the impossible light activity. Abanath communities civilly and criminally prosecuted. Okay, they're hiring the demon-possessed who are engaged in the state's pattern of conduct. And it's also not a coincidence that this is where the state, the Ontario Police, this is going to be a disbanded terrorist organization, are stalking day and night in helicopter while Impossible Light. So while I'm standing here, Impossible Light activity is flashing here, just like Tracy Banks when she was in the kitchen. Listen to my podcast. I documented it. I noted it on the running tab of acts of terrorism that you're subject to. She is stalking in the kitchen, and you are group stalking where you pay rent or mortgage. That's not based on some sort of private or accepted conduct. It's based on a specific environment where the state's P.O.C. is underway. So she's group stalking me in her apartment while Impossible Light flashes on this while she is in the kitchen in relevant position, and the demons are amplifying audible activity outside. Okay, that's the P.O.C. Acting with the demon number 55. Abanath Communities, the demon in apartment number 41, who if he is not a natural born citizen, his son, his stepdaughter, his any of them that are not natural born, they're documented terrorists, you're going to be deported if you are found to be granted some sort of citizenship or naturalization. And while you're engaging in terrorism, there are also sex offenders that know what I'm doing while my panties are down. That's also why they're going to be deported. Okay, sexual violence by domestic terrorists, you're not even wanted in this country. You will be deported and after you serve time in federal prison. Okay, so I just want to be clear, that's documented acts of terrorism, that's impunity, and my ability to know that based on the light activity, the entity does this because presence is coexisting. Understand how the elements work together. And that's an ongoing basis. Nonetheless, there is no natural environment that includes that act of hostility by a demon that knows about the evidence that I'm speaking of, because there's no natural environment that consists of a sun being anywhere in Hesperia over the Holiday Inn at 9750 Key Point, where I'm documenting at 2:40, 2:45, it's up until 3:05 p.m., where you are looking at the fake sun is remaining here. Over, by the way, that demon's daughter's vehicle, the black BMW, you can see it through the windshield at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The fake sun is here. And while you see through the windshield of the vehicle parked in parking spot number 18, which is beyond a reasonable doubt, there's no reasonable basis to question where that light source is, right here over the same property where I'm captured at 7 in the morning, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the evening, and the light source is here, not visible through the window of Hesperia's Holiday Inn facing the 7-Eleven in Hesperia, California. Nor at any time of day was the sun ever at that location. That is speaking to the criminal conduct by the state, that Holiday Inn, another commercial actor who will be subject to civil and criminal prosecution, and everybody that I documented engaged in the ongoing impunity and malice on behalf of the state. As I stated then, the demon-possessed housekeepers are going to federal prison. They act with impunity. Their mental illness, which is born of their demon possession, their need for deliverance, and many of them will wake up in their federal cells when they realize the reality and the gravity of the consequences of their criminal conduct, which happens to be in service to Satan. Okay? It's also an act of domestic terrorism, which the American government will not tolerate. So the entity is doing so in an environment that is readily identifiable. Okay, and that is understanding Abanath communities represent. This is what the entity does on an ongoing basis: crossing the path, doing so either by commercial plane, doing so either by the people of the state that are pacing all around in traffic. That's not traffic. 307 North Avenue, 325 West G Street is living in relevant position. That's not a free citizen. They're not free to live in relevant position, engaged in state surveillance, because that's what they are, where the fake sun is rising. And by the way, they're documented terrorists, where the entity day and night in helicopter, impossible light activity on the side of their house, which is speaking to an intent to engage in state surveillance, as opposed to being seen as a free private citizen, separate and distinct from the state's P.O.C. You are the state, and you're group stalking with the state. By the way, where the sunrise is captured over that house, and then I'm showing you the sunrise over here. It's based on where I'm at, and it remains where I'm at. There's no sun in San Diego. There's no sun in Hesperia. There's no sun in Costa Mesa over the Best Western at all, or in Costa Mesa. There is no sun over Alvarado in Los Angeles. That is speaking to, again, the pattern of conduct where you can recognize the demon-possessed who are maliciously targeting one person. These are criminal acts of terrorism in the U.S., and it's the government that's doing it in concert with the government that's acting vicariously, and they are maliciously conducting themselves as though they're free citizens. They're the people of the state. And by the way, they are the ones that are going to be civilly and criminally prosecuted. It's 2:47 p.m. This is impossible light activity inside. In the same manner, by the way, at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, having nothing to do with that fake sun that you saw, still at the same property, and remains here after 6 p.m., where the entity is rising the fake sun here on this side of my person and setting the fake sun here on this side of my person. We're Abanath Communities, that's Abanath Capital Management, LLC. They will be subject, like every other malicious corporate actor, profiting off of state surveillance, conspiring with the state to murder and kidnap them while they just make money off of it. your vendors, your residents, your employees, the people of the state on the property, and the government itself is engaging in the state surveillance system on your property, and you're making money, you're going to be subject to a draining of your pockets, and you're also going to be criminally prosecuted. It's not torches, it's criminal activity that you are engaged in. Okay? Light activity occurs while this flashing light that you can see on the blinds. Yeah, that's impossible light activity. There's no flashing of light that's going to occur when you're just walking by. And walking under a fake sun that has nothing to do with this light activity here, that would flash as though you're walking through that light. You're not. He's clearly on the ground down here. It's a method of light activity creation. This is what the demon possessed are doing. You're seeing when they're in the parking lot, the demons that are just coming onto the ground visiting to participate in terrorism and then going about their day, flashing their lights. You're seeing this when the demons come and empty the trash. They come and deliver a package. They come and load and unload their vehicles. They're stalking in the path with their foot on the brakes. They're engaging in what is surveillance, stalking in the path with the method of light. And this light activity coexists with somebody that is present, moving in the path, and that's how I knew to open the door and show you Abanath communities. That's group stalking. By the way, that's lying in wait conduct for a demon to be in a position where you can capture them. That's a psychopath that's also obsessively consumed with what's going on with my genitalia in the bathroom, where surveillance is underway inside of this private space. By the way, this is why Jay Burnett, the demon that is affiliated with the terrorist organization flying in circles over this helicopter, over this apartment building, and helicopters day in, day in and day out. Jay Burnett, who engaged in a documented terrorist act with Tracy Banks, who you saw engaged in the elements of monitoring, under the guise of being so concerned that I walked back into the house feet away over somebody that's not 11 years old, over someone whom she has no power of attorney. She's the one suffering from a mental illness, and her criminal acts of defamation, criminal, not torches, criminal acts of defamation is why she's also going to federal prison. Nonetheless, she's making a big deal of that which is not supposed to be a big deal, ordinarily should not be a big deal, but why is she concerned about it? Because she's maintaining the elements of monitoring. In this apartment, Officer Jay Burnett, this is the demon, this is the terrorist that's currently wearing a badge. They've shown you the animals that they are stalking in helicopters under a fake sun and a fake moon, and also while they're engaged in federal stalking, because I'm publishing evidence of the criminal conduct that shows what they're doing in Ontario onto YouTube. Jay Burnett is going to federal prison. And that's why inside of this private space where my genitalia, what's going on with my genitalia, while impossible light activity is on the ceiling, but I want you to be clear, this has nothing to do with what would create that level of light activity. It's above my head. And just so that you can see, it's not the television. I'm gonna turn the television off. It's not light activity created by the TV. This is my shadow appearing above my head. This is impossible light activity. Remember the fake sun methods, all going methods of impossible light. All right, the uncharacteristic behavior of light, where you're walking around while you're painting the buildings, while you're flying over in planes and helicopters, while you're begging and pleading for the one to walk into their apartment because it's so concerning that nobody knows that I'm here, but they all know that I'm here, and they're group stalking together. That's a psychopath that was stating that, and she's going to federal prison. Her name is Tracy Banks. Her apartment is filled 24 hours, day and night, with impossible light activity, including in that kitchen where the stove light is on that does not create two shadows that are standing in front of each other, like I showed on the wall. Okay, the entity is maintaining impossible light. It's even impossible as it appears underneath a structure. There's no sunlight that's going to appear underneath here. That's going to pierce underneath on the ground and on the blinds. That also creates this level of light activity. That's also seen on the wall. Okay, Tracy Banks is a malicious demon, and so is Abanath communities. Group stalking by living in relevant position at apartment number 41. You can see the light source through the windshield, right, of this vehicle. That's light source that's understanding the pattern of conduct is underway. Okay, you're able to analyze the presence of federal stalking and federal group stalking monitoring by the state, which is speaking to the irrebuttable presumption of public corruption, where you are investigating, and I'm speaking to the feds right now, when you're investigating allegations against the government acting against an American citizen, you're able to recognize the crime scene and where public corruption is underway, because the population and the government itself are corrupt, engaging in this criminal system. And this criminal system is a prelude regarding all manner of murders, unlawful incarcerations, kidnapping in other words, because they don't even have authority. The courts are corrupt. They're entertaining the criminal conduct, the works of the demons stalking in helicopters. You don't have probable cause. Everybody that's arrested, including these demons who are group stalking with them, the entity that's masquerading as law enforcement agencies, they don't have probable cause. They're stalking. Surveillance is underway. There's no constitutionally protected basis for them to engage in criminal surveillance of American citizens that have existing criminal allegations, and those like myself who don't. They don't have any probable cause. It's an illusion. It's an illusion while state surveillance is underway. And I want to be clear, the entity is maintaining this environment, and you're going to juxtapose it with what is documented with regard to isolating the whole universe. The sun was never at Alvarado Gardens or anywhere in LA or anywhere in San Diego or anywhere in San Bernardino or anywhere in Hesperia. It was nowhere in Riverside. It was nowhere in Kern County, Bakersfield, which is where I'm documenting the light source remaining over me. It's setting here in alignment to the same property where it's rising at 6 p.m., but yet at 5:23 p.m., where the entity is stalking. That's the identification of stalking. The fake sun, the engineered light, the demons who are the people of the state are stalking in helicopters, which is what I documented. The Kern County, in Bakersfield, Kern County stalking by the fire department, the sheriff's department, and in helicopter. And the hallmark is that helicopter activity in that remarkable environment where it's impossible to reconcile the light source at 5:23 through my window in San Diego, California, and that which is beside my window in perfect alignment with my face, and it's also setting here at 5:20 while I'm documenting it, and at Woodside Senior Apartments in Ontario, and the entity is stalking in a helicopter in that remarkable and readily identifiable and obviously abnormal environment where state surveillance is underway of a demonic nature. It lets you know what's the condition of the entire department, because it's a pattern of conduct, and it's a unique pattern of conduct. Only demons are group stalking, where impossible light activity is manifesting in all the ways that you will recognize and you will identify for the criminal purposes of, for the criminal prosecution of a government, and the people of the state are maliciously masquerading as free citizens, constituents, and they're not. It's the government. Woodside Senior Apartments is the state. Avanath Communities is the state. The entity group stalking through their employees at the state is pacing in relevant position, and they're engaging in a massive sex offense. While my panties are down, genitalia exposed, private conduct of a personal nature, it's a matter of public information. Public information. You will be subject to civil and criminal prosecution, which includes the damages, the psychological harms, the emotional distress, that which is intangible, that which you cannot quantify. You're going to be accountable for it. Also, while you have the audacity to profit, while this is documented on your property, understand why speaker companies, Marriott Bonvoy, Best Western, Hilton, they're documented engaged in the pattern of conduct. While I'm showing you at no time of day could it ever have been the sun. And this is what the idiots that are stalking under a fake sun. And that's exactly what I pointed out. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my main point. That's malice, as I'm documenting a demon whose name I know, seeking to engage in sacrificing me with demons such as Jay Burnett, who is outside of this apartment, inside of this apartment with this third party, Tracy Banks, who engaged in the ongoing years of an attempt to not only criminally defame, but the reason why she's criminally defaming is because she's engaged in the ongoing conspiracy with the state of California to murder and kidnap me. I have been subject to, this is an ongoing conspiracy to murder me, and it is reasonably foreseeable that you would lose your life while this entity is targeting you in the ways in which I've shown is the P.O.C. Also, with regard to the multiple acts of kidnapping, by the way, by this particular aspect of the state, the Ontario PD and the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, the entity, the Ontario Fire Department, American Medical Response, the people of the state, literally Woodside Senior Apartments, engaged in a documented act of kidnapping, and Jay Burnett engaged in kidnapping upon criminal summoning that this property participated in. And Jay Burnett can pull out a cell phone. That's a communication device pursuant to federal stalking under Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2, when I'm kidnapped under a fake sun that remains over his police vehicle while I'm being kidnapped en route while he's group stalking with the people of the state on the roads and the highways, which you already know is underway. And while I am taken to West Valley for a kidnapping upon criminal defamation and criminal summoning with the people of the state, Tracy Banks, and all of the people of the state, Avanath Communities, they're all going to be prosecuted. It's already sitting on the record. This was May of 2019. There's no statute of limitations, and there is no ceasing with the pattern of conduct. The entity is maintaining this criminal system, and Jay Burnett pulls out a communication device, and he replays the audible argument between me and Tracy inside of her apartment in May of 2019. That's how a police department is engaging in that. And that information, which is, again, not private, it's as non-private as my panties being down inside of this apartment, in what is engineered light in at the property where the fake sun is remaining all day, and that terrorist organization that Jay Burnett also happened to work for is flying in circles over me, terrorizing on a daily basis, exhibiting their demon possession, and the fact that they're engaged in Title 18 federal stalking, and the fact that they're group stalking me with the people of the state still in 2024. That is the basis of disbanding, and Jay Burnett and many others who have documented are going to federal prison, and Mike Lorenz is going to be criminally held liable for it. Okay, this is a pattern of conduct. So this pattern of conduct is practiced by the entire department, and the head of that department is aware of that pattern of conduct while it's practiced amongst a population and the government. This is showing what is massive public corruption in the state, and it's a massive sex offense. Okay, and it's subject to all of the ways in which the entity is profiting. 7-Eleven. You have the all of the ways the corporate actors in relevant position. You're talking about draining all of their pockets. You're draining all of their pockets. You have no right to make money while you're engaged in the conspiracy of murdering and kidnapping an American citizen, which is what you're doing while you're living, working in relevant position in any manner, which is the malicious engagement in the P.O.C. amongst the population under a fake sun, amongst engineered light, where you're just walking by the apartment and flashing of light occurs. When you're walking by my apartment and living in relevant position and flying over unrelevant position, and the entities maintaining the elements of monitoring simultaneously, that's ongoing concerted conduct. It's not a coincidence. That's not a coincidence. That's P.O.C. Okay, speaking to that, P.O.C. is underway. So what you're listening to, and this is also going to be published on the podcast for the world to witness and understand, the prosecution of the state, which is again the state of California, which is in service to Satan. There are many demon-possessed, corrupt, and government actors, not merely derelict on the job, but they are maliciously engaged in group stalking. They are group stalkers by virtue of their criminal facilitation. Judges sitting on the bench, attorneys working in the courts, the public defender's office, the district attorney's offices, the entity that is group stalking through probation departments, through police departments, sheriff's departments. Every arm of some form of law enforcement is engaged in this pattern of conduct, as I've also documented, by the way, and the entire population as I go from place to place, and the impossible maintenance of what is impossible light on its face, and the maintenance of a fake sun. And that same surveillance is underway while the demons are maliciously engaged in monitoring evidence and then engage in the same monitoring system while the fake sun is covered up. And at any point that fake sun remains over me, at whatever point in the day that the again, it's not the natural weather, you're aware of what is the demonic, and so the entity is covering up the fake sun while it still remains over my head. And at any point of day, based on what I do, based on where I go, depending on what the entity thinks it's accomplishing, that fake sun remains over me, which I've also documented. That's called malice, and the prosecution of the entity includes that malicious conduct. It's 2:59 p.m. This is the impossible light that's concentrated, and this is all impossible light of a lighter concentration. This is layers of impossible light activity. It's not going to be shooting horizontally through your window, through the blinds that are closed. It's not even going to occur because the sun wouldn't be at the same property where it's present at the same property at 7:30, 9:28 in the morning, 10:28, 10:30 in the morning, 11, 12 o'clock. The sun is not going to be at the same address. It's impossible on its face, and it's impossible in substance when you analyze it and use your common sense. And it's also impossible with regard to this is placement of impossible light in manners that are also irreconcilable with regard to the direction. Okay, this is P.O.C. All right, that is again the government actor, Tracy Banks, who's going to be prosecuted for for years. And I want to be clear, what she's doing with the state of California is what I've been subject to since I was a child. You're dealing with demons, okay? And they know who you are based on the spirit that is within you, based on the calling of your life. That's why you don't have to know them while they're engaging in a demonic pattern of conduct. I have no relationship with the San Diego Police Department, and they're engaged in the same criminal system, in the same specific environment, identifying demons who know exactly who I am, who are stalking in a demonic environment and acting with the population who also knows who I am through their targeting conduct, which is all demonic. And I have no relationship with any law enforcement agency, not even based on the manufactured criminal conduct that the Ontario Police Department engaged in. They're going to federal prison for that. They engaged in kidnapping and manufacturing criminal charges, acting in sync with this demon, this corrupt government actor, this domestic terrorist, Tracy Banks, who sought to murder and kidnap me. And this has been since I was a child. Since I was a child. So you have employing the government that is, now that I'm an adult, the entity going all out, trying to wage an assault on your life. And contrary, God's plan supersedes the plan of the enemy, the agenda of the enemy. Not only is that not going to work, everything that Satan is doing and how he is doing it through an entire population, through the government. This is notable for you to know wherever you are in the U.S. and also for you in the world. Okay, this is the time that we're at right now. And Satan is capable of being identified right now where you are, based on the environment and the malice with which the entity is conditioning your mindset. This nonsense about global warming, this nonsense about climate change, it's not even the natural environment. Okay, the government is used by Satan to engage in what is blinding you, conditioning you, to keep you ignorant about what's actually going on around you. And it's spiritual, whether you acknowledge it or not. It's also criminal. Okay, this is concentrated in impossible light activity while the demons cross path. The light flashes and disappears. Flashing of impossible light activity occurs. All manner of light activity remains inside of this apartment 24 hours a day, day and night. Okay, it is currently 3:02 p.m. The entity is keeping the fake sun visible through the Hesperia Holiday Inn window. So let's just go ahead and capture that real quick, because it's not over any window that will be seen in Hesperia, California. All right, at 9750, the hallway window, where you're seeing CAL FIRE crossing path in a hallway. All right, you're looking at all manner of methods of surveillance. Bimbo, All right, this is a commercial actor. This is a demon using a vehicle as a method of light activity, amplified audible activity, and a demon is occasion to get in that vehicle and use it as a maintenance of light activity, just like you see them doing here in the parking lot. You also know that intent because the fake sun is here and it's not outside of the window of the Hesperia's Holiday in the hallway where the entity is maintaining that light. So it's from 7:51 until 3:05. It's 3:03 p.m. This is P.O.C.